An Irish soldier on UN duty in Lebanon has been killed in a gun attack. Pte Seán Rooney was in one of two armored vehicles that came under fire. While traveling to Beirut, 3 other soldiers were injured, one of them seriously. Irish Defence Minister Simon Coveney said it was with profound sadness and a deep sense of shock that he learned of the death. An Irish soldier on UN peacekeeping duty has been killed and 3 other soldiers injured in a gun attack in Lebanon. It is understood an armored vehicle the soldiers were in was surrounded by a mob and fired on while traveling to Beirut on Wednesday night. Pte Seán Rooney, 23, was pronounced dead on arrival at a hospital near Sidon, and another had surgery and is in a serious condition. The other 2 soldiers are being treated for minor injuries. They were members of the 121st Infantry Battalion, UNIFIL, United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon. Pte Rooney, from Newtowncunningham in County Donegal, joined the Irish. His seriously injured soldier is Pte Shane Kearney, 22, from Killeagh in County Cork. Irish Defence Minister Simon Coveney told RTE Acute Radio he understood 2 armored patrol vehicles were on a standard administrative trip to Beirut. The 2 armored vehicles effectively got separated. One of them got surrounded by a hostile mob. I think that's the only way you could describe them. And shots were fired. And unfortunately one of our peacekeepers was killed and another was very seriously injured, Mr. Coveney said. I would have, of course, met a lot of these young men before they left when we had a troop review in Galway. Before they headed off on this mission. Smart, bright and motivated, well-trained soldiers. This is the worst possible news that a family can hear. Taoiseach, Irish Prime Minister Micheál Martin told RTE Acute his sympathies were with the soldiers' family. We know the commitment of our soldiers, particularly those in Lebanon. They take great pride in their work, he said. It has always been in the cause of peace and Ireland's international contribution. He said it would be prudent to wait for a full investigation and analysis before discussing what happened. Irish President Michael D. Higgins said the dangers that come with peacekeeping work should never be forgotten. The Chief of Staff of the Irish Defence Forces, Lieutenant Gen Sean Clancy, said, "Our thoughts are with his family, his friends and his fellow peacekeepers from the 121st Infantry Battalion. Our focus now is to ensure the safety and continued support for all our personnel deployed in Lebanon." Former Army officer Senator Tom Clonan said Irish soldiers. The route between the Irish Army's camp in southern Lebanon and the capital Beirut was well known among the Irish who had served there. He said since 2011, there had been a rise in the levels of radicalization we've seen in parts of Lebanon and on the border with Syria. We have seen the rising of groups that are aligned with organizations like Islamic State, he said. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou MacDonald also passed on her sympathies to the families of the soldiers involved. There is a deep pride in the role that our forces have played in peacekeeping missions for decades, often in very dangerous circumstances, and they are in our thoughts and prayers this morning, she said. Lebanon's caretaker Premier Najib Mikati expressed his deep regret over the incident and called for an investigation, urging all parties to show wisdom and patience. The Lebanese army also offered its condolences, but did not give additional details on the incident. A senior Hezbollah official, Wafik Safa, said an unintentional incident had led to the peacekeeper's death, and that the armed group was not involved. Earlier in the year, the Taoiseach visited troops serving in Lebanon and laid a wreath to the 47 members of the defense forces who had died.